Hey everybody, welcome to the Freak Show. And no, you are not seeing a mirage or an old live stream. This is definitely me. It's live. It is October something 2020. So something. Let's move on. So thank you all so much for your patience. As it actually turns out, when you were poisoned by heavy metals and heavily traumatized by a lot of doctors who don't test you properly and then who don't believe you afterwards, you kind of need a little bit of therapy. So I have been taking care of myself and my family, and I have absolutely just been focusing on finding my identity again. And I just want to thank all of you so much for your love and your patience. And today, what we are going to do is we are going to live stream and talk about some of my favorite Halloween movies. Now, I'm trying to find my live stream, obviously, on my laptop so that way I can get most of your comments. Hey, John, it's so great to have you. Thank you very much for showing up. And so that way, because on my phone, sadly, I can't see as many comments as I can on my laptop. So I will absolutely dive more into that and see if I can get to the comments. So what we're going to do is let's start getting ready because Halloween is like upon us. It's freaking next weekend. And I have been definitely working on some things for my channel. However, I have been doing the mom thing. What's up, Lucas? It is so great to have you. I am so happy to see all of you here. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoy the live stream, of course, you can thumb it up or down. I don't honestly care. You guys know me. I don't care about YouTube stats. I just do this because it's fun and I like talking to you guys. So first off, we're going to start with my favorite trilogy, The Evil Dead, bitches. Hey, Blaze, it is so great. Blaze. I hope you checked out Blaze, oh God, the parody. I know I've told you about it before, but I hope you checked it out and laughed your butt off because I love your name. We're going to obviously start out with The Evil Dead. I love my copy of The Evil Dead because it's on Blu-ray. And I know that there is also 4K, but I'm a Blu-ray kind of a girl. And these, what I've got behind me, I don't really do DVDs anymore unless they are of super importance and rare and they're not available on Blu-ray, excuse me, I'm not talking right, such as Trilogy of Terror and like Slumber Party Massacre or Sorority House Massacre Part 2. So I did check it out and I missed your videos in your AHS live stream. I'm definitely going to be streaming about AHS soon. I'm actually doing that. I'm making a video about AHS right now, compiling the news for you guys, and then I'm definitely going to have it out soon for you guys. And then we'll do a live stream this Wednesday because I know they're starting up soon and it's almost Halloween. So, okay. So yeah, it's very rare now that I will actually purchase an actual DVD. Lucas says, I still have my original Living Dead. Bitches, I totally hear you. Lucas, you're like me. I still have things on freaking VHS. Like I have Psycho. I wish I would have. Oh no, here comes the rain. It was threatening to rain today here in Texas. So it's actually coming. So if you hear like any thundering or hear any weird stuff outside, we're just getting a little summer or a little winter thunderstorm right now. So like I have Psycho Cop on regular VHS. I love Psycho Cop because it's not too scary at all. I mean, you watch it, you're mostly gonna kind of laugh at the acting, the cheesy storyline, the cop through the whole thing. I mean, it's absolutely hilarious to watch. And it's not too, like I said, it's not too scary. This was done in the early 80s. So it was, I mean, I remember renting it on VHS when I was a little kid. And so, like I said, this movie is really great. It's just about like 8 to 9 couples, or excuse me, 8 to 9 people. They're all couples. They go to a cabin, or sorry, to this mansion in the freaking woods. And there's a psycho cop kind of going around the house, like watching what they do and kind of manipulating the situation, murdering them off one by one. So like I said, it's not like Exorcist scary or like Evil Dead kind of black comedy, but it's definitely worth a watch because the mansion that they go to is badass. If they ever put this movie on Blu-ray, I would seriously pay big bucks just so I could see the freaking mansion that they go to in this movie. It is absolutely outstanding. So, I'll go back to my other VHS tape real quick, but what I wanted to get back to was my babies. Are my babies my Evil Dead babies? And I'm even including the remake because the remake was actually pretty decent, I have to admit. And if you guys don't notice, I have a Necronomicon back here. This is Evil Dead 2, I believe. I have another Necronomicon for Evil Dead 1, but I do not have one for Army of Darkness. And since I'm a mom, a lot of these stuff that I collect and that I find are from half price books or from the pawn shops. Because they're much cheaper. But then again, a lot of them too are from like $5 from Walmart because now they're starting to put Blu-rays really cheap and it's great. So Evil Dead is about two couples and one guy's sister. They go out to a cabin in the woods. And of course, this is late 70s. The movie came out in the early 80s, but it was actually filmed in the late 70s. As you guys know, and as any Evil Dead fan knows, it took a little bit of time to actually get this movie into theaters just because things were done a lot differently than they were now. There was no YouTube, there was no any kind of social media to get awesome films like this out. So, it is about the two couples and the sister. They go out into the woods. Of course, there's no YouTube, there's no phones, there's no nothing. So they do some exploration. And in the basement, Bruce and his co-star find his name is Scotty, but I don't remember exactly what his name is in real life. They find a tape. They go upstairs, and after dinner, they're having some wine and enjoying themselves. And they listen to the tape, and it is a man journaling on the tape about his adventure coming up to the cabin with his wife, opening the Necronomicon, hence this book, and reading the passages and the Evil Dead coming to life and taking over his wife. And now the Evil Dead is like he chants the words in the tape. So sadly, because he chants the words in the tape, he opens the Evil Dead, and now it comes after the five unfortunate people there at the cabin. So, like I said, if you kind of like a little bit of scary, yet more of a black comedy, kind of a horror movie, this is definitely your thing. There's a lot of claymation, a lot of old school, um, you know, I'm sorry, sometimes now I am at a loss for my words. I'm used to sitting at my computer like, what do I need? Let me grab my thesaurus. And just think, but it's old school special effects. It's not CGI. This is done all practical. And so that's why I really love the older horror movies. They did not obviously have CGI back then. So when it came to that Sorority House massacre, that's my bad. So when it came to special effects, they were all real. Evil Dead 2, kind of due to rights and everything like that, sadly, Evil Dead 2 is just basically kind of a carbon copy of part 1. However, it incorporates the daughter of the gentleman and his wife Henrietta, who were at the cabin. She's coming to see her parents and to bring the lost pages of the Necronomicon. So this one is also really great. If any of you ever watched One Life to Live and remember Blair, she's in this movie. I mean, it's just great. I absolutely love this movie. Same thing, a lot of dark humor, a lot of dark comedy, but yet some good gory scares to it. So, and then the obviously Army of Darkness is part 3. It is not titled Evil Dead Part 3. However, this is just as great. At the end of part 2, Ash is sucked into a vortex that sends him back in time to where he must find the Necronomicon. I mean, like, seriously, he goes back to like the 1500s. I don't remember exactly when. Damn it. Actually, I just watched this movie a couple of days ago, and I cannot believe that I don't remember exactly when Ash goes back. However, I've had that problem with my memory lately. So I definitely recommend Army of Darkness. This one is more comedic, very less horror, more campy, more one-liners. If you are not a gory person and you just want a good horror movie just to kind of laugh at and poke fun of while you're watching it with your date or just somebody that you care about or your friends and you just want to have a good time, Army of Darkness is definitely the one. And you don't need to see one and two in order to understand number three. So, okay, so that covers The Evil Dead. One thing I do want to say is the remake was definitely great. I don't say this about remakes, and I mean like A Nightmare on Elm Street totally sucked. I mean, there's just been so many remakes. Amityville Horror, I mean, even though it had Ryan Reynolds and his abs in it, there's just been absolutely so many horror movies, remakes out there that have completely sucked. This one did not. I absolutely loved it. This is, of course, Evil Dead, but it's a lot different format than what the original movie was. The original movie had two couples with his sister coming up to a cabin to just kind of get away. They're college students. This is one young girl, Mia. She is a heroin addict, and her brother, his girlfriend, her two friends, and I think one other, like red shirt, come up to help Mia kick her habit of heroin at her family's cabin secluded in the woods. And there's an actual need to actually keep Mia in the cabin and not to leave, which is to actually like get the heroin out of her body and for her to completely detox and kick the habit as she has already OD'd before. So absolutely, this one was really, it was very violent, very gory. There's one part in there that I just cannot watch, and that's with the I don't want to spoil it for anybody who has not watched it. Excuse me. Need a little sip of Gatorade there. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't watched it, but there's one point where somebody gets a needle straight like shoved in their eye like 30 times, and it's like, oh my god, I can't watch. It's just so freaking violent. And the whole thing that I also love about it too is that Sam Raimi himself even said that he likes this version, and that basically had he had the budget and certain effects that he could use way back in the late 70s, that this is the type of movie that he would have done. So for the fact that Sam Raimi says that about this movie, even did it more justice. So I absolutely recommend the Evil Dead remakes. So let's move out of the Evil Dead and let's move into one of my favorites that once they put again on Blu-ray, I am going to absolutely spend my kids' college tuition to have it. I'm talking about you, Rabid. I love you so much. This is Rabid. This is Marilyn Chambers on the front, and this is a great late 70s old horror movie. And I shit you guys not. Like, this is old school VHS. Look at this. Even has the Warner Brothers insignia with the case, the actual old school hard case. Like, I think my parents paid like $175 for this movie in the late 80s when they bought it, because it still has the original stickers on it from purchase and everything. So, I mean, and you're probably thinking, oh my God, movies were like $200. Yes, they were. I remember my parents paid $250 for Dirty Harry, and that is the most I have ever seen them pay for anything. Anything, but my mother has a huge Clint Eastwood fixation. And when Dirty Harry came out on VHS and my parents could get it, well, of course they spent their money to get a VHS player, and of course they got VHSs when they could afford it, which was very rare. So this one I still have from childhood because I took it from my parents, which if they're watching, I hope you don't mind. I love you. But this is Marilyn Chambers' movie. It is old school classic, one of the classic horror movies of the late 70s. Marilyn Chambers and her boyfriend are on a bicycle, or sorry, on a motorcycle. The movie starts out with them two on the motorcycle, and the motorcycle crashes. Sadly, Marilyn Chambers' character I have not seen Rabid in a long time, so I don't really remember a lot of everything that happens because I don't have a VHS player anymore. Sadly, it died on me, and I have no other way to watch Rabid. It's very hard to find. But they get into a very terrible motorcycle accident, and her skin is almost like horribly ripped from her body. So they take her to the nearest hospital, which happens to be also a vet hospital, I think, or an experimentary hospital. I don't know. I don't remember. The doctor does weird things with genetics, animals, and humans. So what he does is, in order to save Marilyn Chambers, like I think I don't know if if he morphs her DNA, or if he uses the skin of like animals or whatever. Anyway, he does something during the surgery that turns her to this horny monster that when she lifts her arm up to, like start that horizontal addiction, she something under her arm comes out, infects them with the same virus, and they all like they turn rabid. So it starts sadly because she starts infecting everybody in the hospital. She leaves the hospital and she doesn't understand what's happening. And she inadvertently goes out and starts sexing up the city and infecting them as well with the rabies gene. Virus. I was looking for virus. I am so sorry, guys. It's been a little bit since I've streamed. I'm so sorry if you were wearing headphones. But this was a fantastic movie. I absolutely loved it. So, like I said, it's old school 70s, probably another one of zombie movies that came out after George Romero. They were trying to catch on the train. But, this was before the zombie trend was actually catching on in the, like in the 90s and in the turn of the century. So definitely see Rabid. I know there's a remake, and I see that Blaze said that Blaze saw the remake 3 times. I haven't even seen the remake yet. I really want to. So if I can rent it on Amazon or something, I absolutely will. Now, speaking of classics, let's go through some classics. Wolfman. This Blu-ray pack includes all 6 of the Wolfman movies, including Abbott and Costello Meet Wolfman. I love it so much. It was expensive, but worth it. Off of Amazon. I loved it. This is the Crichton Chaney collection. Well, I mean, sorry, Lon Chaney Jr. collection for some of you out there who are not very familiar, but I absolutely adore Crichton Chaney, and I know how he really tried to get out from his dad's shadow and be his own person. So I will never really understand him as Lon Chaney. I will always see him as Crichton because he was his own person. He was such the most fantastic actor. So absolutely, if you guys have a chance to see it, it is old school 1930s movie, but this is when a very wonderful, charismatic young man named Lawrence Talbot goes home to see his father after his brother has died. And he's there to basically comfort his father and see the town. Seeing the town, he does. He meets this very beautiful young woman named Gwen who works in the antique store next to his house, and he is smitten with her, but Gwen is engaged to somebody else. So, escorting her one night to this sort of like fair where they could get their fortunes told by Bela Lugosi, the original Dracula, which we're about to move on to next. Bela Lugosi attacks a woman and kills her, and Larry, which is Crichton Chaney, comes to save her. Sally is bitten himself and turns into the Wolf Man. So the rest of the movie is just about him understanding who he is and what he's got to do. And the movie actually, I don't want to say how it ends because I don't want to actually screw that up. So never mind. If you guys ever get a chance to, definitely see The Wolfman. That was one of my definite favorite horror movies. It's one of the ones that I can put on while the kids are around and they're not going to get scared. Same thing with Army of Darkness. But I would never put the Evil Dead remake on while they were around. I've tried to force the Evil Dead on my teenagers. I have 2 teenagers here at home. I have tried to force the Evil Dead on them to make them watch it. Like they want to, if they want to go places or if they want money, I tell them, sure, just come in here and watch the Evil Dead with me. And they will not do it. What am I doing wrong, people? What am I doing wrong? So speaking of classics, obviously we're going to move on to Dracula. I love Dracula. It's definitely one of my favorites as well. Bela Lugosi, oh my gosh, the storyline of this movie is just kind of going everywhere. But yet Bela Lugosi summons this young man to come over and I guess do his books. And while Renfield is staying there doing his books on the first night, he is bitten by Dracula and turned into his bitch. His like bottom bitch though. Like seriously, like Renfield is like not even basic bitch. He's bottom bitch. So it's Renfield's job to get Dracula everywhere he needs to go and make sure that the earth is always on top of his grave, things like that. So the rest of the movie is obviously about Dracula going around and seducing and biting the young women of London. So I love this movie, definitely. It's wonderful and absolutely worth the find. I think I got this one at half price books for $9.99. So I was really happy to see it for something cheap. For me, cheap is like $4.99. That's cheap, but $9.99 for this type of movie, in my opinion, is absolutely fantastic and worth it. So, all right, so let's move on to one more classic. Well, actually, I've got a bunch of classics. So, Reanimator. I just love this movie. It's just so dark comedy and it's absolutely fierce and what the message that is trying to portray and some of the images and it and just the absolute just craziness of the actual reanimator himself. And I'm a big huge fan of H.P. Lovecraft. Dagon is my favorite short and movie, so I'm very familiar with H.P. Lovecraft. So the Reanimator is absolutely fantastic. It's about a young man who, at the beginning of the story, he works with Dr. Hans Gruber, which is an American Horror Story reference, which is absolutely fantastic. I always like every time I watch Asylum on TV or whichever, every time they talk about Hans Gruber, I think he trained Reanimator. So he worked with this guy, Dr. Hans Gruber, for many years, as we know, who was a famous German torturer. And so he's worked with him. Hans dies under his hands, and so he goes somewhere else as under a new identity and gets into as a roommate with this very basic doctor and his very beautiful basic girlfriend. And so he starts by killing and reanimating the guy's cat. And then it so spirals out of control that this movie is absolutely insane. And if you, like I said, if you like dark comedies, if you like crazy movies, if you just like good things like that, you absolutely need to watch The Reanimator. And I'm sorry, I'm wearing my Nirvana shirt and I'm wondering like, I probably have to just like bring it up like this and just call it to attention because the camera sadly is a little low today. But absolutely, Reanimator, 100%. Loved this movie. So gory. And there was definitely a very famous sexual scene in here. So I definitely want you to be prepared for that if you have never seen The Reanimator. So let's take a couple of questions. Blaze said he saw the remake of Rabid 3 times and that The Evil Dead looks dope as fuck. Dylan says, I love The Craft. And I do have The Craft. I actually have it just like on a regular DVD, but there's a new one coming out too. I can't wait to see that. But I do love The Craft. I do own it, Dylan J7. I absolutely do own it just on regular DVD. However, I've seen it on Blu-ray, but like I said, unless it's on clearance or unless it's just something really cheap, I don't get it because all my money goes to my 4 kids and my husband. So, like I said, these movies I have to find them dirt cheap, like Cannibal the Musical. Okay. This movie is Matt Stone and Trey Parker's. It's like their actual first movie. It's not, it's before Orgasmo. This is while they were in college. I mean, this movie is hard to find and it's expensive when you do look at it on Amazon. But I found it for 50 cents at a pawn shop. 50 cents, brand new. The disc has absolutely no scratches because it was brand new. And I just felt so lucky. I even got freaking The Walking Dead season 2 for freaking $5. Brand new. It's still in the packaging. I haven't opened it yet. Can't believe it's not up in the horror section though. Walking Dead should be up in my horror section. So, I know, Jennifer, I haven't seen you in forever too. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Blaze, I have seen A Quiet Place. I did like that movie. I did like the book that came before it. oh God, there was a movie or there was a book that came before A Quiet Place. I guess maybe it's based on, but then a movie came out after it with Stanley Tucci, and it was actually pretty decent. I love horror movies. There's a new Craft movie that's coming out. I want to see it. Absolutely. Last season of AHS, says Lucas. No, actually, American Horror Story is going until season 13. So they are definitely going for. See, this is season. Okay, so this is definitely going to be season 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 4 more seasons left of American Horror Story. So definitely don't worry about that. Let's see. And I did check it. Oh, okay. So sorry. So I'm back at the front. Let me go back to the bottom. So I have a question. It's non-horror related. Who would win a fight, Marvel or DC? Oh my God, Blaze, I don't know. You guys can discuss that in the comments. Let me know what you think of who would definitely win that fight. Now, next movie I want to move on to is The Slumber Party Massacre, where it is the actual typical movie of a whole bunch of girls getting scantily clad in a house while there is a killer with a large drill hunting them one by one, killing them off one by one. Love it. Saw it when I was a kid. Just absolutely love it. And I love that it was written and directed by a woman. It was written by, I think, Rita Mae Brown, and it was directed by Amy Jones. Yes, Amy Jones. I saw it on the back. And fantastic movie. This one actually, though, it does try to be scary. Now, as I go back now and I see it, I mean, this movie came out in like 1982? Yeah, it did. Holy shit, I actually guessed the right year. I'm pretty good. So this movie came out in 1982. So it definitely was scary for its time. But obviously, as you come back and you look at it now, like nearly 30 years later, it's just obviously it's not that scary, but it is a good movie. So if you have not had a chance to watch it, definitely go and watch The Slumber Party Massacre. And just to let you guys know, a lot of these movies right now are for free to watch on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can definitely go watch them. And I believe even Netflix has a couple of these, not very many. They don't. Shout Factory would never give out rights to Slumber Party Massacre to Netflix or anything like that. They would do them to something exclusive, a pay, and actually like respect. I don't know how to say this. I don't want to tell Netflix because Amazon Prime is really good, and so is Netflix. But Amazon Prime has got a lot of great freaking horror movies on there right now. And a whole bunch of Dario Argento movies, which I love. Tenenbaum, Deep Red, Phenomena, which is Creepers. And I mean, it's just so fantastic. There are so many horror movies out right now. That's why I love the month of October. So let's keep moving on to our next classic, which this is also another one you can watch on Amazon Prime. You can also watch the sequels, which the sequels were pretty damn decent as well. I own the sequels, but just on DVD. And those were expensive. Those were like $30 DVDs that I bought like 10 years ago, which are more expensive now, but now you can get them for free on Amazon Prime, and it's like, son of a gun. But I found this gem right here at Walmart for $5.99. I could not believe it when I found it. I thought I was seeing shit. I thought things were going crazy. I could not believe that I just got Sleepaway Camp on Blu-ray for $5.99. Matter of fact, I still couldn't believe it. I kept the receipt to prove to myself that is definitely how it worked out. So I have a regular DVD copy and I have a Blu-ray, which I just spent like $20, I think, at half price like 2 years ago to get the original. So I have like a bunch of those movies like right here that I'm trying to put aside. I have a whole bunch of movies that I have freaking on Blu-ray now, and I don't know what to do with the DVDs. So and a lot of these new versions come with a DVD and a Blu-ray. So it's like, now I have 2 DVDs copies. I just don't know what to do with them. I feel like wasteful. So, okay, Slumber Party Massacre is about a young girl and her cousin Ricky, who go to camp. They are viciously kind of like bullied by some people and others not so much. But there is a huge twist at the end and a killer running amongst the camp. I'm sorry, I can't think of my words. Like James Earl Jones's dad is in this movie. He plays the head cook. I mean, I absolutely love this movie. I thought it came out in 82. Okay, it came out in 83. So this is one of those real first like camp movies that came out sort of like even probably some of the basis of AHS 1984, because this is one of the real like kids going to camp kind of a movie that actually hit it out a little big. There's one that has James oh god, George Costanza from Seinfeld, and it's Burning Lake, I think. That's a horror movie. It's a camp movie as well. That one's pretty decent, but for me, it's got to be Sleepaway Camp. The way certain people die and just the whole way that they just try to be scary and intense on the movie and they try to be ominous is kind of silly, obviously, for 30 years later. However, it's just classic and it's just something that should be honored and just watched. If any of you out there really love good horror movies and you like to pay homage to the old stuff, definitely pick up Sleepaway Camp. Again, Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3 are available on Amazon Prime. I think they're also on Hulu, but I'm not positive. I haven't been watching Hulu lately. Okay, so one movie I definitely have to sneak up is by Jordan Peele because I'm so excited for his new Candyman movie that I had to include Us. It was either this or Get Out, and I thought it's got to be Us because I watched this movie a lot. I really liked Us. I let this movie get spoiled before I actually watched it. I'm a huge fan of Dead Meat. You guys are too. I know you are. So I watched James Janice's review, Kill Count of Dead Meat, before I actually watched Us. But I loved his breakdown of it and the way that he talked about the movie so much that was one of those movies that I thought, okay, I've got to see. So I let some time pass and I go, of course, to Half Price Books. I got a coupon, so I got it half off. I think it was like $9.99, so I got it for $5. And when you can get a Blu-ray still, I mean, and I think it was still brand new at the time for just $5. I mean, that's like I said, that's a pretty great score. So, of course, I came home and it's a really great afternoon watch because by that time I hadn't really remembered the Dead Meat episode. I've watched so much and I've done so much during that time that I did not remember what this was about. And it was fantastic. It is about a young woman, and one day she goes into an actual haunted, like little vision quest, finds herself with her parents on her birthday when she's real little, and she sees a little girl that looks exactly like her. So it flash forwards to years later when yet little Addie is still pretty traumatized by it, even as a woman with two kids and a husband, and they're going back to the same beach, to the same everything, and she's afraid that the little girl that she saw that night is coming after her. And sure enough, that night her second one appears. And I don't want to spoil the twist for you guys because there really was a fantastic twist ending to it. So definitely, if you guys haven't ever seen Jordan Peele's Us, I definitely do recommend it. I loved it. It was really great. I'm so excited for Candyman. If you guys don't remember, I do actually have Candyman up there. As soon as I realized that Candyman was out on Blu-ray, I had to have it. I'm a big Clive Barker fan. Same thing with like Nightbreed and all of his other movies that have come out on Blu-ray. I with those, I mean, I'm just so lucky to even have them. So I'm actually going to do another live stream of these movies. So don't worry, we'll go over those movies next time. So I still have two movies to go over, but I definitely just want to say that I am so excited for Jordan Peele's Candyman. I am so excited. I am so like Bill and Ted Part 3 excited. Like Exorcist Part 3 excited. I cannot wait to see this movie. I have seen the trailer to Candyman the remake, and I love it. Even Jordan Peele is going to turn Candyman into something just as great because, as we all know, Candyman had a great first movie. I remember even as a kid, I had the Candyman poster on my wall. It came out in like the early 90s. So, of course, I was, I think it was like 92 or 93. So I was like 12 during that time, 11 years old. I was, huge into horror movies. Loved them, loved them, loved them. So I had a huge poster of Candyman on my wall. I loved Candyman. I loved the book, The Forbidden, that from the Books of Blood that it came with. Just everything. I'm a huge fan of Clive Barker. So when I heard that they were doing a remake, I thought, no, this is going to be another Amityville, another, raw, just another like remake that sucks and is not going to be any good and just won't live up to its standards. I mean, no offense, Rob Zombie's Halloween was pretty good, but I mean, as far as remakes go, I really like the new remake that came out. That one was much better. And stayed more true to the source material. I know Zombie was trying to do his own interpretation. However, I really liked the new one that came out. And I can't wait to see Halloween Kills. So when I heard that it was Jordan Peele that was going to be redoing Candyman, and of course I'm a huge fan of Jordan Peele, I thought, yes! So of course, once the trailer came out and I saw it, it just looks even better. So if you guys ever saw Candyman, the movie, the remake it's not actually a remake. I guess it's technically going to be a part two to the first movie. It's going to pick up the story of Anthony, the little boy Anthony, who was taken by Candyman. It's going to be taking up his story and how he, I guess, was like groomed to, I guess, maybe chosen to be the new Candyman or something like that. But it just looks really good. If you guys have not seen the trailers, please go look at them. They're right now on YouTube. You can definitely go check them out. So, last two movies I want to close up with is Trilogy of Terror. Guys, how could you not think I would put Karen Black in this? I love Karen Black. She's huge. I mean, to me, I grew up watching a lot of her movies, and I will never forget how Trilogy of Terror would come on TV at night. Like it was only on the midnight showing, like Rocky Horror. And of course, I stay up late to watch it. It's, mid 80s, so I'm like 4 or 5. I stay up to watch it, and I was traumatized by this movie, especially with the little doll. So this is a trilogy of terror. It's basically 3 stories that Karen Black is the actual like star in all 3 of them. And the first one, she's taken advantage of by a guy who is like a serial rapist, sadly, or he's like the budding beginning of a serial rapist. I don't remember. It's been a little bit since I watched Trilogy of Terror. But the tables are turned on him when he sets his sights on Karen Black. And then the second story is about 2 sisters, and Karen Black, I believe, is in both. And then anyway, so the last one is the little guy right here. Karen Black wants to go see her boyfriend. It's his birthday. She's bought him a little artifact, and her mother, is just like, no, you should come see me. You shouldn't go see your boyfriend, which this is, when was this done? 1974. Back then, mothers were always like, get yourself a husband. Get yourself a husband. You're not anything unless you get yourself a husband. So I'm really surprised that her mom was like, no, don't go get yourself a man. Don't go get some vitamin D. Come see me. Don't go get some birthday D. Come see me. So she gave her daughter such a guilt trip, and it made her feel terrible. So she was like, okay, mother, I'll come see you. But anyway, the whole thing is that she breaks the enchantment that's on the doll, and it starts running around, attacking her, which, back then when they're showing it on late night showings in 1984 and you're only like 3 years old, 4 years old, and you see this and it's like, oh, it's scary as hell. So it is great now. Neighbors are probably home. I'm sorry, that's my little cookie. So if you've never seen this movie, it is fantastic and you'll probably get a good laugh out of the ending, but it scared the crap out of me when I was a kid, especially seeing Karen Black with these teeth. I mean, I know it's kind of difficult to see it in the picture. Here, actually, let me open it up so you can see it more. But Karen Black with those teeth, it's just, when you're that young and you see that, it just scares the bejesus out of you. So I absolutely love this movie, Trilogy of Terror. Like I said, a lot of these movies that I just showed you, I love because they scared the absolute shit out of me when I was a kid. Because, of course, when you're a kid, everything scares the crap out of you, even Wolfman, even Dracula. But that's how you kind of learn to love what you like. Even though these movies scared the crap out of me, I continued watching them. And then, of course, you'll find movies that are nothing but boobs and butts, like Sorority House Massacre Part 2. This, Joe Bob Briggs gave two breasts up. I just said that. I just said that. Anyway, this is a great movie. If you haven't seen Sorority House Massacre Part 1, it's a story about a young girl who goes to a sorority. She she's had dreams for, excuse me. It's not COVID, I promise. It's just terrible allergies right here in Texas. Don't give me that look virtually, guys. I swear. I won't be able to take it. So the first part, like I said, she's a college girl. She goes to a sorority. She's been having dreams all of her life of a house, and the sorority is this house. And it turns out, well, I don't want to tell you what happens, but a young man escapes from an insane asylum and goes to that sorority and starts killing young people. And you would think it's more like a Ted Bundy kind of storyline, but it's actually not. And it's actually pretty decent. So this is part two, where like six girls buy a sorority and they're there on the first night. It's this kind of old supposed mansion. The inside shots were much different from the outside shots. If you're a big movie buff like me, you'll know that this is the house from Slumber Party Massacre Part 3 and other movies as well. So anyway, they bought this big house to move their sorority into, and they're there to spend the night so that way the next morning, the movers, the electric people, the telephone people, all of these people are arriving at 6 a.m. for some reason, which, writing, plot, and just obviously. But so the girls need to stay the night. They go down to the basement, find a Ouija board, take it upstairs, get basically in their little nighty jammies, pull up the spirit of Clive Hochstetter, the man who murdered his family before they moved in, and he possesses one of the young girls. Now, I do have Hard to Die, which is the third movie in the Sorority House Massacre series. It's kind of like Army of Darkness, kind of, Evil Dead kind of a thing. The third movie is not titled Sorority House Massacre Part 3. It's titled Sorority. It's, Hard to Die. It's its own independent title. So I paid like $100 online to get that movie on DVD. Smart enough to back it up, and then some dickhole steals it from me. So at least I have it on backup, and because that movie is extremely hard to find. But Clive Hochstetter possesses one of these girls, and obviously one at a time stalks them down in their 90s and kills them. So for me, this movie came out, God, I don't remember when, but like in the 80s. And by the time it came on, it was late night, it was HBO. And, late night HBO in the late 80s was like the place to be. Everybody always wanted to watch the movies, the scantily movies that were HBO was always, putting on. It was very racy. That's why Cinemax was in competition, and that's why they're called Skinemax sometimes. So just as a little bit of backstory. So there was a huge competition for a lot of TNA in horror movies. And in my opinion, this one has to be the best TNA in a horror movie by far. And I don't remember. I bought this movie so long ago from Amazon. Like I said, I keep my receipts because I want to know when I bought this. I bought this in 2012 for 20 bucks. So if you go online now, you can't even find them. So it's like I said, there's a lot of these movies out there. You can even watch this one, I believe, on Amazon Prime as well. I don't think you can watch Hard to Die, but you can watch Sorority House Massacre 1 and Part 2. So again, I mean, these so far are some of my really good top horror movies. I'll definitely be going over The Exorcist, Amityville Horror, Halloween, all that kind of stuff next time. But like I said, sadly, guys, I had just been having some terrible times after that heavy metal poisoning, losing all of my weight, my hair, my money, everything, basically, just to try to save my life. And then finally we do. I just needed to focus a little bit on myself and my health and my family because sadly my kids were poisoned as well. And basically, what had happened, and I apologize, I don't think I've really told people this, but basically, what happened was that in Austin in 2018, there was a shit ton of water, a lot of rain, a lot of rain. Sadly, there was a lot of red and blue algae in the water. And in order to clean the algae from the city system, City of Austin put in some cleaning tabs, and the way it reacted to the algae put in a shit ton of heavy metals. And I was not the only person. So, like I said, I've talked to my neighbors. Statistically wise, a lot of pets have died. That I'm really sorry. A lot of people and pets died in 2018. So I've looked at attorneys. I've even kind of really thought of suing the doctors, the city. I've just been very angry about this for a long time. And my pets almost died. I mean, my cat, I mean, my dog was at the point where he was losing his hair and his health was going extremely terribly downhill. But our cat was literally on his deathbed, and the vet did not know why. So we did not know why I was either. And so it was just so insane. And then we talked to our neighbors, and it's just like I said, it was a lot of anger that I carried around at the doctors because main symptoms of poisoning is the horizontal stripes across your fingernails, missing your hair, a lot of hair falling out, the metal tasting in your mouth, and the significant horrible burning sensation in your stomach. All of, I mean, there's many others coupled together, but I had those four main symptoms, and I told them all to the doctors. I even showed them my fingernails and told them, look, I've got these long horizontal white stripes across my fingernails. Why is that? And, they'd say, well, you're iron deficient. Let's just get you some vitamins. Just they did not care. It was literally right in front of them. And it wasn't until finally I could get in with my regular doctor that he said, nope, that's heavy metal poisoning. We need to get you tested and detoxed. So, like I said, there was just a lot of anger. And then I had to deal with the anger from the fact that I was poisoned and my entire family was poisoned. And then I had to deal with the fact that I lost everything. I lost my parents, I lost my brothers, my best friend, I lost everyone because not a lot of people believed me. And I see it's also the fact that I think they were just so scared that they were seeing that the person that they love was dying literally in front of them. So it was just really terrible. It was such a horrible time for me. So I really apologize that I have not been streaming. I've been focusing on myself, I've been writing, and I've been trying to go back to finding who I am and making sure that I'm healthy, that I'm walking, and that, most importantly, that I've taken really great steps in changing my diet, which I have. So, yeah, everything's just going so much better now. And most importantly, I'm on proper medication because sadly, the heavy metals damaged my heart and my kidneys. So I was going a long time with kidney and heart problems. So now that I'm on the right medication and I'm not so sick anymore, things are actually going better. I'm seeing a therapist about my anger and about about the poisoning and everything. So it's actually been going so much better. And I really appreciate everybody who has just stuck by me and who has been here for me and who has sent me messages or notes or just anything. Just any little thing for me. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I am definitely going to be back doing AHS stuff and reviews. And I am also going to be focusing my channel more on more specific things like true crime and American Horror Story. So there's other things that I've been doing on my channel, little funny things, and some little parodies that I actually had filmed, but they just didn't look right. So I think I am going to piece some of them together and try to get it out. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that I'm absolutely going to be doing for the channel, and I'm absolutely going to be coming back. So I just really appreciate all of you and your patience. I did think that weekly Wednesday live streams were going to start back up. It's just that two of my kids are still doing school from home. So it is very difficult for me to stay on a schedule for my channel when yet I need to be focusing on their schedule. So I do apologize just for a little bit right now. The schedule is going to be a little wonky of when I post and when I do live streams. So if I get a chance, I'm going to let you guys know, hey, here comes a live stream. That way you guys can have a little bit of time to get here. And like I said, I'll definitely be compiling you guys some videos. And if there's any movie that you guys would like me to talk about, if there's any case that you would like me to cover or anything like that, just let me know. Because again, I believe what I'm going to just start doing now is just focusing my channel back to American Horror Story and true crime. My Mondays Are Murder season 2 is basically the rest of it is still wrapped up and is ready to be put out. I'm just, like I said, it was just so difficult after something so terrible and tragic happens to you that you literally have to write down how you want to be buried. It just really fucks with your mind, seriously. And, I have my hair, I have my fingernail clippings, I have so much saved from that time because I thought I was going to die and they blame my husband or they blame somebody or just, you just didn't, I just had no idea what would happen. And it just scared me that here I was going to die in December of 2018. And I'm just so grateful that I didn't. And I've just been healing from the trauma of it and everything that came thereafter. So I just really appreciate all of you. And guys, also, don't forget if any of you right now are having any problems or if you are struggling, like you've lost your job, you do not have food in your fridge right now, and you've been to the pawn shop and you've literally sold everything you own and you have nothing left and there's no food in your fridge, do not think that suicide's the only way out. There are so many people out there right now that it's really sad that I have seen the homeless population here in Austin grow so significantly in the past 7 months. That a lot of people out there were, I don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely on diazepam. I'm on that kind of stuff right now because of COVID and how it's heavily impacted everything. And so I don't have suicidal thoughts, but if anybody out there does, please reach out to somebody. Please reach out to me, your family, anybody. Just don't do it. You are loved and you are appreciated and you are beautiful, and don't end your life. There's another way to go and everything will get better. I promise. I was at my bottom piece, trust me, a few months ago. I had no idea what was wrong with my heart and kidneys, and I had so much anxiety over my health issues. I was just at the end of my rope. So I totally understand how a lot of you out there are feeling so much tenseness and anxiety. So I just want you to know to hang on. I love you. Everybody else loves you. We're all here for you. And thank you so much for just continuing to face the day like we all do. Um, okay, guys, that's basically going to wrap up the live stream. I'm going to go back so I can work on my videos a little bit more. I do have one that's coming out about AHS news, and I was thinking about releasing the one that I worked on with my children regarding the parody and then where I explained it to them. The video just didn't come out exactly like I hoped it would, and I don't know if it was just my shitty editing or what, so I think I might release the video anyway. So thank you all very much for watching. Thank you all very much for being here and for giving me the patience and the kind words that I needed. Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, we will be back next Friday because we're going to talk more horror movies. And then, of course, Saturday is Halloween. I'm so excited. I was thinking maybe we should do the Ouija board again, or I don't know, like Casey says, backflip. We can do the Bloody Mary where we backflip off the back. I don't know if you guys remember when I did the Bloody Mary one time. You were all telling me how there's so much stuff that goes with it. Casey was like, you have to backflip off the toilet and then shower, then do this or that. And it's just like, it was so funny. But we'll do some fun things for Halloween. So I just want you guys to know how much I love you. Thank you very much for being so patient. And I will definitely be back live streaming. And you guys are so badass. Thank you very much for watching and for everything, guys. I will see y'all next time. Bye, everybody.